Okay, full disclosure, I'm never late. Y'all just listen early. 53-man roster came out today, man. Let's talk about it right here on Cowboy Spit.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait, take Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's CeeDee Lamb.
What's up, everybody? Cowboy C3 told you we could be back today if the roster came out. Well, it was going to come out regardless. 53-man roster is live. It's out. It's on the streets. And I guess Brian Schottenheimer, he didn't tell us a lie. You know, there are some players that are a little bit surprising that got cut. There's some players that I was surprised that made the roster. So, you know, we'll talk about it in a second. Team news today. Micah Parsons had an MRI week 1. He had it the first week of training camp. What's going on is not that serious. This roster's out, man. We're finna talk about it. We got to. But we're going to get into the Cowboy soap opera first. Micah Parsons has been cleared to practice. His MRI came back on his back. It came back clean. So in the team's eyes, the Cowboys consider Micah Parsons cleared to practice. So they're playing hardball, man. They're not gonna give him this. Oh, I'm injured. You still gonna pay me? They went. They did an MRI. MRI came back clean. It's time for Micah Parsons to practice. But I mean, I don't think he practices until it's until his contract is signed. We'll see. I believe that contract will be signed here in the next few days, and we'll get to football. But anyway, I don't want to go harp on the Cowboy soap opera thing with him and Jerry. Not really worried about as the Cowboys turn. You know what I'm saying? What I am worried about is this 53-man roster. So this is how it goes. And we'll do a quick one tonight. We're not going to be on here very long, but this is how it goes. Your reserves, your injured reserve, physically unable to perform, your non-football injury list is Demarion Overshown, Jonathan Mingo, Peyton Turner, Siobhan Ravel, and Josh Butler. Those are your players that are absolutely 100% going to be there later. They won't be there right now. Another player that is on this list as well that will make the 53-man roster will be running back Phil Maffa. We'll talk about that in a second. Quarterbacks are going to be Dak Prescott and Joe Milton. Your tackles will be Tyler Guyton, Terrence Steele, Nate Thomas, and Ajane Cornelius. Your offensive line, your interior offensive lineman will be Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, TJ Bass, and Brock Hoffman. Your fullback will be Hunter Lemke. Your running backs will be Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, Miles Sanders, and Phil Maffa. Your tight end, Jake Ferguson. Your tight ends, Jake Ferguson, Luke Schoonmaker, and Brevin Spanford. Only 5 receivers on the roster. CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Jalen Tolbert, Cavante Turpin, and Ryan Flanoy. Your defensive ends, Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, Marshawn Nealon, Donovan Ezeraku, James Houston, and Sam Williams. Super happy James Houston made the roster. He deserved to make it. Oseo Digizua, Solomon Thomas, Mozzie Smith made the roster. Jay Toya and Perion Winfrey will be your defensive tackles. Not a bad group. And that's good. That's a good thing. Linebackers will be Maris Lufau, Jack Sanborn, Kenneth Murray, Damone Clark, and Shamar James. Shamar James made the roster, man. That is great news. I love it. That dude played a hell of a preseason. And to me, it was him, Buddy Johnson. It was kind of a toss-up. Shamar James makes the roster. Congratulations to him, man. Well-deserved. Your corners will be Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, Kyer Elam, Andrew Booth, Zion Childress, and Kalen Carson. And your safeties will be Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Wanye Thomas, and Marquise Bell. Now, there are some names on this list that were super surprising they didn't make the roster. I was surprised some of them didn't make the roster, but here's your list right here. Your release players are Lael Collins, Sadiq Charles, Jaron Christian, Hakeem Adeniji. Israel Mukwamu didn't make the 53. That is surprising. Kind of an indication, though, that he was in the football game on Friday night, well into the third quarter. And that was kind of surprising to me. I was like, why is he still in the roster? Why is he still in the game? I guess it was something that he didn't do. Ernest Brown, your all-world special teams player, CJ Goodwin, did not make the roster. That's surprising. Michael Ojemudu, Ryan Rochelle, Will Greer. Now, Will Greer, every team is allowed to carry a third quarterback, an emergency quarterback. Will Greer will be back. Kaman Hall, Darius Harris, and Buddy Johnson didn't make the roster. Your waived players. Now, the difference between released and waived is anybody that has 4 years, has less than 4 years in the NFL, is waived. And they have to clear the NFL waiver wire, which means other teams are allowed to pick up their contracts. Released players are veterans that have been in NFL for over 4 years. They're flat out released. They become unrestricted free agents. They can sign with any team at any time. Your waive players, 18 players. Deuce Vaughn, which for me is surprising because he showed more in the preseason to me than Miles Sanders did. And I know, and a lot of people, I've heard a lot of, little chats, other podcasts, radio shows today saying that Deuce Vaughn absolutely showed more than Miles Sanders did because Miles Sanders was hurt the entire preseason. Not real sure what that is. Maybe they'll bring Deuce back on the practice squad. Not sure. Practice squad roster is pretty big now, so we'll see about that. Nick Broker, Denzel Daxon, Tommy Akinbestaway, Josh Kelly, Trayshawn Holden, another surprise. Jalen Cropper, another surprise. Jalen Brooks, another surprise. But there's not enough receivers. There's just not enough receiving room to go around. And the fact that the roster is only keeping 5 wide receivers, but you're keeping 4 running backs, that kind of will tell you a story that the Cowboys plan to run the ball this season. That's what they plan to do. Princeton Fant, John Stevens Jr., Rivaldo Fairweather, Tyler Neville, Troy Pride, who I thought also had a good preseason, Mike Smith, Ajane Clark, Justin Barrow, Malik Davis, and Tyus Wheat, who had a pretty good season last year at defensive end, didn't make the roster this year. So there are some surprises, right? Brian Schottenheimer wasn't wrong. It's just, there's some interesting players that didn't make it. Israel Mukwamu probably stands out to most to me because he's played for the team for the last 3 or 4 years. Anytime you've asked him to substitute in, played multiple positions, whether it be the outside corner, nickel corner, or the safety, he's done a pretty decent job at it. Made some good plays in the preseason, did a lot of good things. There obviously just wasn't room for him. And I think the fact that Trayvon Diggs is healthy now, that kind of solidified that. Hakeem Richards was traded today to the New Orleans Saints for a 6th-round pick in 2028, I believe. Had a little bit of value for him, and he's there. Another thing, you go back and look at these wide receivers on here. Jalen Tolbert makes the roster. I was a little surprised about that because Jalen Tolbert, maybe he's at a ceiling, but I know that him and Dak Prescott have a really, really good relationship, and they have a really good chemistry on the field. And I think the whole thing is just to make Dak as comfortable as they possibly can. They can make him. And Jalen Tolbert is one of those receivers that he works with a lot in the offseason. And he's available. Ryan Flanoy is another guy. Everybody on that list that he works with, like Dak works with. But there's some guys like Jalen Brooks that have been, at every preseason, preseason workout, off-season workout. There's some guys that just didn't make the roster. And I think those guys will come back, be on the practice squad, and they'll be available just in case one of these players get hurt. Is it a solid roster? I think so. I think the roster is pretty solid. I kind of like the defensive line now. I don't think it's that terrible. I don't think Mozzie Smith will be a starter. I think he'll be a rotational guy to go in and give some of the starters a breather when they need one, and he'll go in for 3 or 4 plays, maybe make a splash, and then he'll be right back on the bench. Kind of a weird situation for him to be in, being a first round pick 3 years ago. But hey, at least he's on the roster. And my only hope is that he makes the most of it. There are some guys that will be on the practice squad, like I said, but they'll come up and they'll fill holes as needed. There'll be some guys, especially on that waiver wire side, that they'll get picked up by other teams and maybe they'll have prominent NFL careers somewhere else. And I wish them all the success in the world, but this will be your 53-man roster for the Dallas Cowboys for the 2025-2026 season. So what's next? Shit, Philly. That's what's next. That's the only thing that is next is Philadelphia Eagles next Thursday. First game of the season on ring night in Philly. Big game, very important game. I'm not going to say it's a must-win game, but it is the first game of the season, and it is against your division rival, and it will be exciting nonetheless. 53-man roster is set. Your 2025-2026 Dallas Cowboys are blocked, loaded, and ready to go. This is the team that they will put on the field for the first game against the Philadelphia Eagles. How the depth chart is set up, we'll go over that probably on Saturday, and we'll break down these games. We'll go through every game on the schedule, and I will predict or try to predict every single game that the Cowboys play this season. Will it be a winning record? I don't know, man. They have a good team. They have a hell of a stretch right after they come out of their bye. They play, win-loss record says that it is the hardest NFL schedule ever, right? And it's not going to be easy, but there are some games that they can win. There'll be some close ball games they'll win. It'll be some games where coaching will become involved, and it's going to have to be some timely play calls, and we'll get to see what Brian Schottenheimer is made of, man. Then that's what it all boils down to, is that this is his first shot at it. We'll go through this season, and we'll see how this shit turns out, man. I'm excited about it. I like the roster. I think it's a solid roster. I think it's a competitive roster, and I think it's a roster that can win some football games here in Dallas. Is it a Super Bowl roster? I don't know about that. We'll see. I'm definitely not saying that it is a Super Bowl roster, but it is a competitive roster that can win some football games, and it's going to take some individual efforts by some players, particularly a quarterback, that's going to have to win you some football games, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see. Hey, run the damn ball, play good defense. The Cowboys will be all right. Okay, that's my show. Kept it under 15 minutes. 2025-2026 Cowboys are set. Let's rock, baby. First stop, Philadelphia. Let's go. Be filthy. All right, Cowboy C3. You guys have a great evening. Go Cowboys. I hope they're ready. We'll talk about it on Saturday. All right, y'all. Peace.